Welcome, critters! I'm Claire Jones, your devoted host of the Sacred Reading CR podcast, where we discuss and examine in Critical Role episodes, plot lines, characters, and players through the lens of sacred reading practices. This particular episode is about Campaign 1, Episode 46, Part 1, and joining me today is Atlas.
Hello.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
We just spent the last 15 minutes catching up on our lives, and then I was like, oh yeah, we actually need to start recording. So the icebreaker is an easy one for today. What is your favorite thing about the holiday season?
My favorite thing is the decorations,
Mm.
mostly the lights, because especially with the sun setting so early
Yeah.
and, snow and cold gray weather, the lights just make me happy,
Hmm.
uh, and are, so special, and you don't get them for any other reason than the holidays.
Hmm.
So, love lights, love decorations, love when people just make something fun out of everyday things.
Hmm. Have a lot of
Yeah.
people around you already put them up?
Some, not a ton. I think part of that is we've gotten no snow yet this
Hmm.
year. And so people haven't really clocked that it is almost winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's similar here. We usually get a snow the first week of November, but we
Mm.
didn't this year. And so it's kind of just been
Yeah.
like middling fall weather.
Yeah. It's been like mid 70s the last couple weeks still.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Welcome to global warming. Um,
Wow.
and so far we're on the second latest first snow
Wow.
in recorded history, and we're only a couple days off of that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We're solidly stuck in the
yeah.
early 50s. Like we're just coasting.
Yeah. It's colder today, but it's been solidly t-shirt weather for the entire fall. It's
That's
weird.
wild. Yeah. I
Yeah.
did notice though, a neighbor across the street did put up their lights the other day. So some people
Yeah.
are starting to catch on.
I'm looking out my window, and even the neighbors I know usually have lights up don't have them yet. So,
Hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah. My favorite part is food.
Fair.
Yeah.
Hard to argue with that one.
Yeah. Thanksgiving is, I think, arguably my favorite holiday.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um, because I don't think it used to be my favorite holiday. Like it hasn't always been. But since I've been living on my own and since I've started just doing Thanksgiving dinners for myself, it has become my favorite holiday
That's
because
interesting.
I get to make whatever I want, however I want,
Yeah.
eat however much I want. And because I don't do family holidays, I get to do whatever I want.
Fair enough. Yeah, Thanksgiving is the holiday that I actively avoid celebrating. So,
Mhm.
can't relate, but good for you.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely horror stories of family Thanksgivings in my past, and
Yeah.
I understand why some people hate the holiday. And, the political history of the holiday aside.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, it's all of my favorite foods are Thanksgiving
Mm,
foods. Like
fair.
mashed potatoes is top tier food category, right? I love some turkey. I'm mostly pescatarian these days, and so I don't eat a lot of poultry in general. And so
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is pretty much the only time of year that I do eat turkey. And I love green bean casserole, and I love pumpkin pie, and I love pecan pie, and like just being able to eat all of my favorite foods in unlimited quantities.
That's fair. That definitely helps. A big part of it for me is I cannot stand most Thanksgiving foods.
Hmm.
Like they I don't even like the smell of turkey, much less the taste of turkey.
Hmm.
So Thanksgiving is a little bit tough when
Yeah.
it comes to food.
Yeah.
Um, But I can completely respect that if you're getting to eat all of your favorite things, it becomes a lot more fun.
It does. And it's also like the TV programming that happens on Thanksgiving, I
Yeah.
also really enjoy. Like, I love watching the parade. I love watching the dog show. Like, I always have to watch bits of the dog show. I used to be a huge football fan, and so I would just watch all of the
Mm.
Thanksgiving games. Nowadays, it's a day to watch holiday movies for me.
There you
After
go.
I finish the parade, after I finish the dog show, then I move on to holiday movies. And it's also, we also kind of have a family of tradition of decorating for the holidays on Black Friday instead of shopping.
Yep,
My
we
family
do too.
traditionally went to a Christmas tree farm and cut down our own Christmas tree and lugged it back
Yeah.
home and decorated. And so that's also kind of like a tradition of mine to get into the holiday spirit when
Yeah.
I'm stuffed with all of my favorite foods.
Fair enough.
um, yeah, it's pretty great. But I think a large part of my enjoyment is because my family does not require me to celebrate with them.
Yep. That definitely plays into it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I made the agreement with them a long time ago that I was no longer coming home for the holidays because it is insanely stressful to do so.
Hmm.
And my family is not the greatest in the holiday mood.
Yeah.
So I visit home in April. That's what we've decided.
There you go.
Hmm.
Yeah. I will only celebrate Thanksgiving with my brothers. I won't do my parents, I won't do the extended family. If the boys want to celebrate, I'll make time. But other than that, Thanksgiving is the holiday. I give myself a break from the family
Yeah,
and go do my own thing.
yeah,
So we're going on a trip.
yeah, yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's food is the best around the holiday time, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Hmm. Well, please join us as we embark in this exciting adventure in story analysis and self-reflection as we deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. As always, we love hearing your own insights, stories, and thoughts as
Sure.
well. So please comment, like, subscribe below. And ready? All right, let's dive in. So, as we open this podcast episode, Vox Machina, they've arrived in Pyra and they have discovered that the Fire Ashari's village has been decimated by Thordak's escape from the fire plane. There they find Serconis, Keyleth's father, and some others working to mitigate some of the damage and are led to the center of the caldera where the torn open fire plane portal sits over a flow of molten rock pouring in three directions from the center of the mountain. They see four undead creatures aimlessly huddled at the base of a tree, blocking the path forward. And Serconis tells them that the Ashari need to divide their forces to handle all of the looming threats that are present. So they ask Vox Machina to handle this bit on their own. He and the other Ashari wish them luck and go forward into the caldera on their own adventures. The party attempts to stealth past the undead, but Scanlan's clumsiness draws the attention of them. The party decides to kill them quietly. Vex and Vax quickly and silently kill one, but their master, a blue dragonborn wizard, arrives and accosts the group for killing one of his undead. He introduces himself as Gurn Blanston, a magical candle maker. The party agrees to take him with them so that he can get a body to replace the one that they killed. He calls them his friend pets. He introduces the other undead thralls as Coral, Stimpy, and Fatty Arbuckle. The one that they killed was named Carol. The now larger party proceeds to the portal rift, where they encounter a small fire elemental. Keyleth transforms into another fire elemental, and when the first elemental runs, she yells at it to stop in their Ignan language. It joins another elemental and a salamander type creature, which tells the elementals, go, he's not here yet, alleviate this uncontrolled one. So all of the creatures begin to swarm toward Fire Elemental Keyleth, but she attempts to intimidate them, saying, as the leader of this fire nation, you will heed my word. She rolls a nat 20 and convinces them to return to the fire plane through the portal rift. The party continues on as Fire Elemental Keyleth leads, and Vex notices that Gurn is stealthily reaching down and pocketing stuff that he finds on the ground, but we don't know what. They continue forward through the flattened forest toward the source of the Molten River, which is an extremely bright rift surrounded by fire elementals and salamanders that are focusing a steady beam on it, which seems to be slowly tearing it wider. Vex hunter marks the biggest, and Gurn sends Fatty Arbuckle toward them with an ice storm candle, and that triggers combat. Fatty surprisingly survives the ice storm and an attack from the creatures, so the group rolls initiative, and Percy goes first, shooting the main salamander. Scanlan then fires a lightning bolt at two of them and inspires Gurn. One fire elemental attacks Fatty but misses, and Grog runs to Fatty, throwing Craven Edge at a salamander but also misses. Fax clicks his boots of haste and stabs the elemental next to Percy. Then Gurn casts Cone of Cold, destroying Fatty and freezing the salamanders in place. Vex flips over one of the lava pools like a badass and then shoots the elemental she hunters marked. Fire Elemental Keyleth emerges herself in the lava pool and slowly rises, shouting out again in Ignan to intimidate the elementals into returning to the fire plane. A smaller one does flee, but the larger does not. It goes back to Percy, and he draws the initiative goes back to Percy, not the elemental. And he draws his sword to swipe at the elemental next to him. He tries to scoot away from it and it takes an opportunity attack, but he uses his brooch so that an arcane shield blocks the attack. He then shoots it once he has a bit of distance from it. Scanlan casts Thunderwave on the elemental near him and takes it out while the other flees into the rift. But they see other entities, including one larger form, emerge from the portal as well. Fire Elemental Keyleth runs toward it, looking for her other Ashari tribe members and hearing the distant sounds of their combat. Grog knocks over the two frozen salamanders, breaking them into pieces, then carries Fatty's frozen body back to Gurn. He tells him that he could use it as a coat rack, but Gurn doesn't seem to want to carry him around just for that purpose. And that's where they break for the episode. So, what do we think of this first half?
So, my main impression of this first half is not much happens.
Yeah,
It is, I think Matt makes a comment of they avoided one encounter.
yeah,
And so I think part of it is they did manage to cheat themselves out of it a little bit.
yeah.
But I think the other part is one of the downsides of guest
Mm,
spots.
yes.
Um, Especially because this is very clearly meant to be a comedic character.
Yeah.
They are not in a comedic space.
Yes.
Um, Especially this episode, it is a tonal shift that doesn't mesh and kind of brings everything to a halt.
Yeah.
Um, it's not the worst. It's not, you know, egregiously out of place, but it does affect the story in negative ways.
Hmm.
And I think part of that is it dramatically slows down all of the momentum they had going.
Hmm.
Um, it would have been way more interesting to learn more about how the Ashari came to each other's aid because they are very separated. It would have been more interesting to find out who, these fire elementals were referring to and what context that was. There were a lot of interesting things that could have happened that didn't because of this guest spot. And
Yeah.
that's not the guest's fault, but it is a consequence of being poorly timed and poorly conceived as a guest character.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were talking, I was thinking about like who were our last guests on the
Mm-hmm.
campaign so far? And I think it was Zara and Cash, correct?
Yes.
And they were a lot more integrated into the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Matt has gotten to a place yet in his storytelling where he makes sure that the guest integration makes sense
Yeah.
within the narrative.
Like what we really got was a, hey, there's a person and now find your own reason to adopt them.
Yeah,
And even then, that guest didn't really play into that well enough to make it make sense.
yeah,
There was a lot of awkward, am I coming? Am I not? And then there's a bunch of fourth wall breaking,
yes,
which that's a very specific kind of humor. It has its place. This kind of story did not benefit from it.
yeah, yeah. It was very tenuous in terms of how this guest character was connected to the in-game narrative, but also the players themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that that is very important when we're talking about D&D groups in general, D&D games in general. Like,
Agreed.
I was even kind of getting like secondhand embarrassment cringe just from when
Mm-hmm.
Sam arrived to the stream because they didn't leave room for him at the table when they set things up. And so there was a lot of like back and forth about like where he was sitting and how he was sitting. And like it seems
Yeah.
like I don't even know this guy's name, Gurn's player. It seems like he and Sam knew each other from work outside of Critical Role, is what I've understood. And so they had like a pre-established type of like teasing relationship going on, but there was also a lot of like weird tension going on between
Mm-hmm.
them. Like Sam made the comment, he's like, I've already been emasculated for tonight, because he was squeezed into the table and it just didn't feel like there was a lot of forethought put into the player's inclusion and the character's inclusion.
Yeah. And it's part of that also comes down to even if you have an established relationship, that's not always the relationship you need to have,
Yeah,
right? So there's a time and a place to be teasing and friendly and funny, and it may have landed better in a different situation.
yeah,
But when you are in a different group or in a different place or in front of a camera, you need to read the room a little bit better or a little bit differently. And I don't know that that happened.
yeah. And I think that is also parallel with the group, like the players group, in this journey that they're going through in terms of professionalizing themselves as well. Like
Yes.
we've been talking about that in several podcasts now, where they're starting to realize that they're a professional D&D group. It's not just a group of fuck offs who are streaming their game for fun,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I think at the beginning of the episode, they even mentioned this is like the last episode is where they launched the Gilmore's Glorious Good t-shirts, and they literally sold out before they
Yep.
even finished announcing them in the previous episode. So,
Yeah.
like, seconds they sold out. And I think that they mentioned that they weren't expecting that they were surprised that they're going to do another round, so on and so forth. And they're still trying to catch up themselves with this level of professionalism that is being asked
Mm-hmm.
of them by the audience that is being attracted to the stream at the moment.
Yeah. And I think it kind of bleeds over into their storytelling a little bit in
Yes.
this episode, where the players don't seem to be on the same page as each other
Yes.
on what tonally this episode is supposed to be. Um, and so there's a lot of very awkward in-game moments that are reflecting the awkwardness at the table.
Yeah.
And we've seen this happen to Critical Role before. We'll see it again. Um, but I think this is one of those episodes where the story doesn't hold up to the awkwardness. There isn't really a redeeming factor here.
Yeah. And I think this even started before this episode as well. Like, I
Mhm.
don't think we can only put it on Gurn's shoulders here
No, absolutely.
because the group was confused why they were going to Pyra in the first place.
Hmm.
Keyleth was reluctant to go to Pyra. She didn't want to go. So there's a lot of resistance already accumulating there. Once they get there, a lot of the group members are confused as to what their role can be in helping the
Hmm.
situation. And Vex mentions that multiple times leading up in the last episode, as well as in this episode, of being like, we don't have a lot of magic users. So we don't really know how we're supposed to help you with this torn open rift.
Right.
And Matt, in the voice of the NPCs, keeps saying, it's okay, you'll be fine, we'll still need you, but doesn't really explain how or give any types of reassurance beyond just trust me.
Yeah, it does not feel like a fully built out story beat.
Yes.
Um, and I don't I have watched this so many times, a ridiculous amount of times for the amount of content that is included in this campaign. And yet this detour into Pyra always feels out of place.
Yeah.
Always feels a little bit under thought out, under appreciated, and I don't know that the players are super into it. I think
Yeah.
this is one of the times where they are just kind of going with the flow for
Yeah.
better or for
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. And it comes across. I mean, like, on a one hand, I'm kind of thankful for the levity. I'm thankful for the
Hmm.
break because Keyleth's and Marisha's portrayal of Keyleth leading up to this episode is very emotional, very dark, very
Yes.
heavy. And so there is a need in storytelling for comedic timing in those kinds of
Hmm.
emotional scenarios. It's kind of like a shopping episode, right? Like we kind of need a break from the tension to
Yes.
breathe sometimes, but I think it was unplanned, ill-timed, and just not executed well.
Yeah. I am all for little bits and bobs and breaks in this sequence, especially because the Chroma Conclave arc is
Yes.
so long.
Huge.
Um, but this one just doesn't land the way it needs to. Um, and I want to like it because Keela's story is really amazing. This one doesn't land.
Yeah.
This is one part of it that I don't ever really fully understand.
Yeah, and me and Petal were even talking about this in the previous episode of like, I don't really understand Keyleth's relationship with her father.
Yeah.
There was a lot of confusion for me as to why Keyleth is reacting to her father in the way that she did when they first meet in Pyra. And so what had would have been helpful for me and interesting for me as a watcher is to more explore that relationship, but
Yeah.
instead he gets shuffled to stage right. And then we get this random blue dragonborn. And I would have almost preferred that this guest character was an Ashari.
Yes.
That would have made so much more sense to have
Yeah.
that be the story beat that we're exploring here. There's so many other I think, worthwhile ways to incorporate a guest into the story beat,
Yeah.
but it just
Yeah.
wasn't done well.
And you can't force somebody to play a specific character.
Sure.
And like I get that. But there were so many ways where this would have made more sense if he had been part of the Ashari or part of, you know, a responding group, any like tie him into the actual plot rather than just have him be a scavenger,
Yeah.
right? And like there's something about having all of these undead characters that just doesn't mesh. Like it's an interesting character concept. It doesn't really make sense for this group to team up with somebody who has undead thralls.
And especially in a setting that has a mass grave for all intents and purposes.
Right, and coming off of the heels of the Briarwoods and their recent experiences, the only reason this guy survives is because they know the guest is sitting right there.
Yeah.
His character doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Um, and I feel like we could have even made an Ashari character that was comedic,
Yes.
right? And so I feel like he could have still maintained his commitment to
Hmm.
providing the comedic element in the story beat, but
Yeah.
with a much more cohesive thread to the narrative.
Yeah. I mean, you could have gone Ashari, you could have gone comedic, you could have gone Dragonborn, you even could have played with some of the necromancy pieces,
Yeah.
but it would have needed it would have needed to mesh differently for it to really work. There are ways that it could have worked. It just didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, me and Petal were talking one time about I think the icebreaker that I asked was, what are you a snob about?
Mm.
And she couldn't come up with anything. And so um I was like, well, we are kind of snobby about game etiquette.
I think all
Like,
three of us are.
I'll just put it out there. And it brought up this conversation about how Critical Role has had guests in the past who
Hmm.
didn't necessarily mesh. And I think this is a perfect example of
Yeah.
that. Of who knows what his experience with D&D was prior to this. He seems to be somewhat familiar with the
Hmm.
concept, but it also just seemed like it was a plug and play character that had a very determined purpose from the player that didn't make sense in
Yeah.
the game.
And I think we'll have a good opportunity to talk more about game etiquette next week
Mm,
or next episode. Um, but yeah, I think that definitely plays into it a little bit here. Um, and it's not that he does anything wrong, it's that his etiquette doesn't match everybody else's.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I think it's just an excellent mirror, like I said before, for their professionalizing that's going
Hmm.
on at the
Yeah.
moment. Um, I mean, segueing into like personal experiences is like, I think we've all been faced with that point at various points in our lives where we see a very stark mirror at like ourselves two steps behind in our
Hmm.
process. And we're like, oh, that's kind of cringeworthy right there because I recognize that that's where I used to be. And that's
Yeah.
an uncomfortable realization for myself.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where my personal experience was coming from too, of like sometimes you realize halfway through that you didn't read the room right,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're stuck with whatever choices you made, but you're realizing, oh, this is awkward now. And I kind of think we see that start to happen when we hit breaks so early in the episode.
Yeah.
Like everybody's not sure how to react. Everybody's kind of like, "Huh, this is a little weird." And I've definitely been that person who, you know, way earlier than probably would have been comfortable realizing I did not read the room. I did not make the right choices. I have been talking for way too long about the wrong thing. Um, and I relate to the awkwardness.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and I think it's also a great example of something that happens in our lives of just like the foundations of group alignment
Mm-hmm.
when you are working on a group project and the importance of agreeing on that foundation
Yep.
prior to starting.
Yeah. Setting the ground rules is important.
I'm a relatively new member of an alumni board right
Mm-hmm.
now, and I've been having trouble. I don't know if I want to say integrating or aligning, or I think the better word is understanding the group dynamics of what's
Yeah.
going on because there was zero orientation for me. And there's zero effort on the behalf of leadership to
Mhm.
center people around common goals, common values, common missions, common
Yeah.
aims. Um, and so the vast majority of our meetings are spent in confusion as a result.
That is frustrating.
As someone who values organization so much, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh my God, like what is going on right now? And so that's what I've been trying to do for the group. I'm like, okay, we need to like focus ourselves around the mission of what we're actually trying to do here. We need
Yeah.
to create some SOPs for our efforts and make sure that our efforts are organized because even just the basic communications between board members has been completely disorganized and
Yeah.
fraught with in-group conflict. And it is astounding to me that no one has conflict resolution skills. And it's like, how are we supposed to accomplish anything with this scenario that they've apparently built for themselves? It's wild.
Yeah. Group projects in the adult world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, where are our spreadsheets though?
I love a good spreadsheet.
I'm like, do I need, I'll make the spreadsheet. Just tell me it's okay for me to make a spreadsheet. I'll make the spreadsheet.
Fair enough.
I've been literally waiting for over a month and a half to be told that I'm okay to go make the spreadsheet. And they're like, well, we need to make a working group around this. And I was like, no, we don't.
No.
I was like, no, I will just do it on my own. It's fine. It will literally take me like a couple hours.
In fact, please don't form a working group.
Right? I was like, please don't. Like, we don't need to schedule a group because scheduling is such a hard task for it's
Hmm.
one of the main problems is scheduling right now. And so I'm like, I'm trying to reduce the amount of problems, not add to the amount of problems.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'll make my spreadsheet. Any personal experiences for you?
I think personal experiences are really, you know, yeah. I was super involved in a fraternity in college. And my senior year, I was running for president of this fraternity, and it was an elected position. Did not read the room correctly,
Mm.
just bungled my entire campaign. Um, and it was so incredibly awkward to be standing in front of a room of people voting, like raise your hand style voting. There was no blind voting here. And so getting that instant feedback on you didn't time this correctly. You did not say the right things. You did not think the right things. And then immediately having that panic of, I have done everything wrong in this moment. Um, and so I have this like little bit of grace that I give myself of like, well, at least it's not that awkward. So, we all have that moment of things have gone horribly wrong, and I can tell right now. And the vibes of this episode kind of reminded me of that spiral of like, oh, this did not go the way it should have. Oh, it's getting worse. Oh boy. Um, and I can laugh at it now. It is now an extremely funny memory to me. It was devastating at the time.
Yeah.
But I can now say I have read the room completely wrong at least once and I survived it.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I mean, we all have that at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
Man, group projects are so hard in general. Um,
Groups of people are hard.
they are. And, I think I've been going through this a lot this year in particular because I've been this year forming this like mutual aid resource network that I've been doing.
Mm.
Um, and trying to like center people around values, vision, mission, which sounds like such corporate bullshit.
But they have a
But they
purpose.
have a purpose. They do.
Yeah.
They make our efforts more efficient and more impactful and more strategic
Hmm.
instead of just running around like chickens with our heads cut off. Um, yeah, shit's wild. And it doesn't help that the alumni board stuff is very intricately tied up in the political environment that we are
Ah,
currently living
yes.
in, which I think is heightening everyone's panic and emotional responses to.
Yes. As
Um,
someone who is affected by the political climate in our country on the daily,
yeah,
it makes everything way more difficult right now.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. And something that I've been noticing across the board too is like, whew, man, I don't even know if I want to go down this road, but like performative emotional responses to
Mm,
what's going on right now.
yeah.
Which I think also underlines the importance of values, vision, and mission. Because we have to stay in scope.
Good luck, but yes.
Um, but I honestly think that that ties into what's happening with Keyleth right now in
Hmm.
her relationship with the Ashari and her Aramente is like, this relationship with her father is that I feel like she's feeling the pressure to perform leadership.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if that specifically shows up in this first half, but she does take a leading role in the fire elemental types of communication happening
Yeah.
in
I
this
think
book.
we definitely see glimpses of it. But it is a shift from what we usually see from her.
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting. I don't think we get enough time with it to really see what that means
Yeah. I mean,
at
she's
this point.
almost rising to the moment here in this first.
Almost, yeah.
Um, but the chaos of the guest inclusion
Hmm.
hides that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's very well evidenced by the fact that we've talked very little about anything else this entire episode.
Yeah, but Keyleth is taking a major leading role in this first half.
Hmm. Yeah. She is definitely stepping a little bit outside of her comfort zone, and taking that speaking role. Um,
Yeah,
she tends to hang back, and she does step up, and be the first to approach. But it is prodded a little bit by Grog mentioning that they're taking her lead.
yeah,
Um, she is pushed into a little bit, but she does step up to it.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's also very relatable, is like,
Hmm.
there are moments where crisis happens, or chaos, I guess is a more accurate term there, where
Yeah,
we as individuals do rise to the occasion of it, but we don't realize it because
yeah.
the chaos is so overly noticeable. That's the prevailing story that people
It's
walk away with.
easier to see later,
Yeah.
and easier to see when you're away from the situation itself.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's probably very similar to what Keela's experiencing right now. Right now, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Later, she might recognize where she ended up.
I don't know if she does. Does
I
she?
don't. I don't think she does. But she could.
She
I
could.
think is the point.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a world in which she could have. I don't think this is her like moment for that
Yeah.
yet.
So
She gets there eventually.
I
This
think it's
is
a
not her
great
catalyst.
lesson for us
Yeah.
to not necessarily sweep these cringe experiences under the rug completely and bury our
Hmm.
shame completely,
Yeah.
because we do learn from them. We do grow through them
Yeah.
if they are cringe-tastic in the moment.
Which does segue nicely into my what are we going to do about this section? Because my whole thing was play through the pain, and or awkwardness. Like just because something is awkward or cringe, whether we're talking about the guest character's entire existence, or Keela's situation here, all of it is made better because they push through the awkwardness and
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
I know from someone who has a very chronic anxiety response, my
Mm,
response would be to leave and to
mm,
never be on camera again.
mm.
But the fact that they move past or through all of the awkwardness, all of the tension, makes everything better. So that's my cue. Play through the pain, play through the awkwardness. You'll come to the other side and we'll be better for it.
Yeah, yeah. And also just keeping your wits about you
Mm-hmm.
when the anxiety is rising, when the panic response is rising,
Yep.
of being able to like have that self-awareness to step back and be like, okay, the panic isn't going to help here. What were
Yeah,
we doing in the first place? What
for
is the
sure.
point that I'm trying to do here? And can I realign with that moving forward instead of letting that emotional knee-jerk reactional
Yeah,
panic response start steering the boat?
for sure.
Yeah. Um, I very much credit my meditation practice in being able to have that self-awareness when those situations occur.
Yeah.
Um,
I credit neurodivergence. But yes,
yeah, whatever works.
you know,
Um,
one part of me wants to panic, the other part goes full autism and just like buckles down to be rule follower to an extreme. It kind of works.
I mean, there are some that argue that neurodivergence is an evolutionary advantage.
It has its moments. Sometimes it does come in handy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some people do argue that like neurodivergence, like ADHD is
Mhm.
a brain evolutionary advantage because of just the sheer amount of information that we're processing on a day-to-day basis these days.
It's a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which I'm down for that argument. Um, yeah, I mean, the actions that I'm being called to take, I think, are around the centering of values, vision, mission alignment.
Mhm.
I know I've been harping on that, but I've just been also thinking about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting. I'm writing book 5 at the moment in my series, and book 4, the character was very much panic response, anger response, driven
Mhm.
by the emotion of the moment, driven by the anxiety in the moment. And now that I'm into book 5, I'm writing this character with a lot more balanced perspective on things. And I
Mhm.
keep having to remind myself that he needs emotional motivations too.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait. He was a mess at the end of book 4. Like, what happened between the end of book 4 and the beginning of book 5? Like, I need to spell out in narrative so that it
Yeah.
makes sense for the reader to go from like, he was completely melting down at the end of book 4. So now we're seeing him kind of have a handle on things at the beginning of book 5.
Yeah.
So what the fuck happened between then and now?
Yeah, especially when it comes to a written story, that's way more important. You need all of the pieces for the story to work.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if Matt has gotten to that awareness yet as a storyteller.
I think he has it, but he hasn't figured out how to employ it.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Because it's very different when you have a group of people improving through the narrative that you lay out for them.
Yes. And it's very different when you are telling a story with friends and when you are telling a story for people who don't have your inside jokes, who don't have your relationship, who need to understand from the outside what is happening.
Yeah,
And that's an adjustment period. And Matt tells amazing stories, but I think this is one place where he hadn't totally figured out how to blend all of the pieces together and create something
yeah.
complete.
Yeah, and there could have been a bridge created for this guest character
Yeah.
into the in-game dynamics of these players.
Yes. Yeah. And I think I'm trying to think the only other one episode character we really see is Lilith.
Mm. In
It's
campaign
so
one?
far.
Oh,
So
see,
far.
in campaign one so far?
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
all
honestly.
the others kind of become recurring characters. And I think because Lilith was more built into the story, she was easier.
Hmm.
And was a little bit less jarring. Whereas this is just I don't even know what this is, but so we've seen him do it successfully before when it was easier to tie into the story, when it was easier to build out.
That's interesting that you bring Lilith up because that was also a point in that campaign that also felt jarring at the time is when they killed off all of those people, like that old lady that they killed.
Yes. They did get a little murder hobo-y. Um, but it doesn't feel like a stop in momentum so much as a shift in priorities. I
Mm,
think that's where the difference lies for me.
mm,
Is here the story stops. With Lilith, the story does not stop.
mm,
They shift tonally, they have some missteps, but it's not grinding to a halt like it is here.
mm.
I don't know if that's
Yeah,
getting
no,
across what
I
I'm trying
see.
to
I'm
say,
picking up
but
what you're putting down.
yeah.
Yeah, because I'm honestly just confusing a lot of guest characters at this point.
There is such thing as too much Critical Role when you cannot keep
I
it
know.
straight.
I'm specifically thinking of a guest character in campaign two. Um,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I want to go there? Do I not want to go there? Um, but I think you're right in the sense of this is, as far as I can think of at this moment, the only guest character that completely grinds the story to a halt.
yeah. At least I think in campaign one. Um, I don't know if I want to make that sweeping generalization, but for this campaign, I think it's the only one where it really jarringly stops everything in its tracks for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why it didn't show up in the animated series.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up?
I don't think so. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I think it's just an important lesson around group dynamics.
Yeah. Yeah. And tying things in when you're telling a story.
Providing that bridge.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned at the beginning of that like orientation, when you have
Hmm.
an established group, like and you bring someone new in, it's always going to be a little awkward unless
Yeah.
you have that pre-established bridge orientation type of, liminal space.
Right.
Liminal spaces are important.
They are. They have a
They
purpose.
do have a purpose. It can be jarring, sometimes overly so,
Mhm.
when you expect something or someone to go from point A to B without that little arrow between.
Yeah.
Well, be the bridge in your life.
Sure.
This is powerful stuff that we're talking about here. And audience, we definitely encourage you to share your own thoughts and stories and insights with us as well. We'd love to know how Critical Role has impacted you in your own lives. Have you had your own experiences with jarring group encounters? I mean, like, I've seen stuff like this completely destroy groups.
Hmm.
Like you said, a lot of people just have that like run response of like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm out. Um, and I think that happens to a lot of D&D groups.
Definitely.
Well, special thanks to Alice for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Always happy to be here.
Next time we'll be discussing Campaign 1, Episode 46, Part 2, and joining me again will be Atlas. So I'm excited for that. As always, I'm looking for more co-hosts and guests. So if you're interested in coming on and nerding out with me, please do let me know. In the meantime, please comment, like, subscribe below, follow us on Tumblr at Sacred Reading CR for all the juicy updates. And until next time, may all beings be peaceful, may all beings be free, and be the chaotic good you wish to see in the world. Take care, guys.
Bye.